welcome to another up close video. Today's one is another one of Tonic's 2022 birthday releases, and I don't know the exact name of this one. I currently just have it down as Sleigh, so the title of the video will be the exact name of it. But this is a gorgeous A5 stamp set plus a die set. They don't coordinate 100%. They're not like a stamp club where you have dies to cut out the stamped images. Only really one die coordinates with the stamp, and then you also have a blister to go with the sleigh. So you have a stamped image to go behind the blister, or a die cut image, and then you also have the die cut outline as well to go with your blister. I presume the blisters will come in a pack of 10, but I only had a couple of them, so I've used one on a card and I've got one here to show you what they look like. I guess this kind of configuration of like dies and stamps and a blister is similar to some showcases that we've had in the past, and also the Christmas set from last year's birthday week. I'm pretty sure it had the penguins, and then you had like the snowman blister that could also be a penguin as well. I think that was in birthday week last year. But yeah, it's a lovely kind of concept of having stamps, dies, and the ability to turn it into a three-dimensional interactive kind of card as well. But when you run out of your blisters, you can just do flat shaker cards with them, or not make shaker cards at all. I mean, you don't even have to use your blisters with the dies straight away to turn it into a little sleigh design. It can just be all die cut, or it can be stamped and die cut together as well. So let's have a look at let's go with the stamp set first for this one. So this is the A5 stamp set. You can see we've got some gorgeous large icon sort of images and lots of sentiments on here as well. So let's go through the sentiments first. So we've got look who's being good this year, and you can do like ... with the ellipse, and then have the rest of the sentiment on the inside, which you could handwrite yourself, or you could say it's a Christmas miracle. You could write look who's being good this year, and then write so-and-so's name, and then you can be funny and say it's a Christmas miracle. You've got for a good friend, you've got ho, so you can do ho ho ho, you've got happy ho 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 holidays, or ho ho holidays, a little gift from me, and then you also have to you as well, and then you've got bringing you a lot of love this Christmas as well. So you've got different spins on just a normal Merry Christmas. You've got different sort of ones that go with some of the images, or this one doesn't have to be Christmas at all. That can be an all year round kind of card as well. So even this one, look who's been good this year, and it could be a birthday card or something as well, and a little gift from me to you. So they can definitely be used elsewhere as well. Then, images wise, we have this gorgeous, like, chubby kind of reindeer compared to another set that's within this birthday week. He's a very chubby little reindeer, and he's a similar kind of style to there was a large snow globe. I'm pretty sure it was last year it got released. It could have been 2 years ago, to be honest. And it came with an A5 stamp set, and it had cute little characters in it. This reminds me of that kind of style. So if you have them and you remember that set, this one might be a nice one to go with it, and add different or like cross-pollinate between them and add different creatures to that snow globe, or different ones into these kind of cards as well with the sleigh. Then you've also got Santa's bag. So I actually coloured mine to look more like a potato sack kind of a thing, you know, with like the Hessian. But you can definitely go with bright red to make it actually Santa's bag as well. Or sometimes it's black or grey in cartoon sort of images as well. So a nice versatile kind of one that you can colour any colour you want to. And actually, if you know a postie, you could actually make that look like a Royal Mail postie bag that's like that sort of medium grey kind of colour, because basically posties are like Santa at Christmas time, or all year round really, delivering presents and parcels and stuff. So you could do a funny card for your postie as well. We've got a Santa stop here little sign, which you can add onto the roof of a house, which you have some dies to create a roof of a house as well. Or you can just have that, you know, stuck in the ground, or you can have another character that you might have from another stamp set as well. These are all very similar styles to the stamp clubs as well. I presume it's the same designer who's drawn them. I'm not sure who actually draws the stamp clubs, but I presume it's the same person who works at Tonic. But you could have like one of those hippos from the second ever stamp club with the little sign as well. There's no reason why you can't mix and match different characters. Even the monsters, wouldn't that be funny having the monster asking Santa to stop there as well? You've got a lovely little present. This kind of looks like it could be a hat box, like the Elegant Ascot box that came out not that long ago. So you've got like a gorgeous little round cylindrical box with a bow tied on top with the ribbon. You've got a longer kind of present here, which looks more like a box shape with the ribbon tied on top again, and a different kind of ribbon as well, so it won't look too repetitive if you have loads of presents stamped. They all look very different from one another, which is nice. You've got this piece here, which is actually the sleigh. So the idea is you can stamp this onto a piece of card and use this as the backer for your shaker blister and have the design inside it, or you can actually use this, and I'll show you the coordinating die, and you could cut that out as a layer and stick it onto the die cut sort of main frame of the sleigh as well. And you can colour this in whatever colours you like too. You could even trace these swirly designs with like glitter accents or Nuvo glitter drops or something as well to give them like that relief kind of effect. Maybe even one of the dream drops. I can't remember what the colour it is now. It's this one I'm thinking of. The Moroccan Flame. I kind of feel like that would go nicely for Christmas because it's like a really deep rich red with like gold mica in it. That might look nice tracing that detail. Then if we move down a little bit further, we've got two different Santas. So you've got this one who he kind of looks like he could be surprised, like he's just flown out the top of the chimney, or he could be whistling or like saying ho 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 or singing a Merry Christmas carol or, you know, Merry Christmas or something as he's delivering presents. And then you've got this little fella here who kind of looks like, he sort of looks like he's directing his sleigh to land, or he could be just be waving, or he could be throwing presents up in the air, or he could be putting his hand up there to catch the little robin as well. So loads of different ways of using him. He could even be interacting with other stamps that you have as well. You've got the little robin too. I presume it is a robin. This one looks more like a robin than one of the other ones in another one of the birthday week stamp sets, but you can definitely colour them to be whatever bird as well. If this is all cartoony themed, it doesn't really matter if the bird doesn't look 100% like the species that you're colouring it to look like. And then the final three stamps are all ones to kind of build the background or add that magical kind of feel to the card. So you've got this one that's kind of like, it reminds me of like, you know, a cartoon throw of magic or something. You know, it's sort of like stardust, or, you know, it could be pixie dust or Santa's magic. You could like heat emboss that or use it, maybe you've got some star dies as well. It could be like the back of a shooting star or something, or just a nice way to add some extra detail into the background of a card. And then the last two are two gorgeous snowflakes. I don't think we can ever have too many snowflakes, and with all Christmas sets, whether it is Tonic or another brand, within dies and stamp sets, there's always little snowflakes included, and they're always different. I mean, there's probably millions of possibilities of an actual real snowflake looking different, so it's no wonder that you've got so many different variations in stamps and dies as well. So that is all of the stamps in the stamp set. And then we have the gorgeous die set as well. I'll show you the sleigh first so we can see how the die actually coordinates with that stamped image. And I'm pretty sure, I didn't actually use them together, no, but they've done it like they do with their stamp clubs, so you can actually still see the black line, so you don't have to worry about the die being misaligned. You can stamp it, colour it, and then cut it straight out if you want to. Or if you're doing it for the blister, I actually just left the excess card around the edge so that the blister had a nice area to stick to, and then you won't know about the excess because you will use this to cut an aperture into your card, which your blister will then go behind. And as you can see, it's the perfect size to cut that aperture for your blister to fit in. And while I'm showing you that, I'll just show you this card that I've done with the blister so you can see exactly how that works. I've used the stamped image behind, and then I've cut the aperture into my backing card and also through part of the present sacks as well, so they're not overlapping into there. And then I have cut the outside edge of the sleigh die, which is here. and I've cut this edge with this one inside it to give a frame, and then that just goes perfectly over your shaker blister that you've put onto the front of your card and really finishes it off for you, and the sleigh will be that way round when you cut it out. But if you don't want to use the blister, you don't want to make it into a shaker, you don't want to do any stamping, they also give you a die to add a pattern to the sleigh as well. And the great thing about Tonic dies is they give you that versatility, so you don't just have to cut that pattern into the sleigh, you can cut it into this separate layer and add it on top, or you can cut it into the separate layer, then cut another layer and then back that with a different colour and then back it onto here. So you can actually have like 3 different colours going with this, or you could have the sleigh cut from red, you could cut the pattern from gold, and then you could just layer them on top of each other and have the red showing through the gold pattern. You could cut this whole thing again from gold and just keep the bottom sort of sled portions as well. My one, I did actually keep the whole thing cut from the gold, which is the Inca Gold Iridescent mirror card. But either way that you do it, I think it will look lovely mixing and matching it however you want to as well. So I love these kind of dies, and Tonic are really great at doing all of these sort of shaker dies with a lot of that versatility in there as well. So that is the sleigh die. Then let's go with all of the simple ones first. So we also have a tree, which I didn't actually use in the end. I was going to... Oh, no, I did use it. It's on one of the cards, so you will see this cut out as well. But you kind of have the 2 details, and I wasn't sure... I suppose you could do it either way, really, but I wasn't sure if you're supposed to cut the solid from white or green and then the detail from white or green. But I suppose either way you do it, it just means that the tree has a load more snow on it or less snow on it, basically. I ended up cutting the detail from the white snow colour and then backing it with a green one, but you could definitely cut the detail from the green and then back it with white, and then the white would just show through these little areas here, so it would have a small amount of snow on it rather than being really like drenched in snow. So you've got that gorgeous tree, but you can just use it as a solid tree as well. It doesn't have to have anything to do with Christmas, really. Maybe you got the Campfire Critters stamp club and you wanted some larger trees or a different kind of evergreen sort of trees. This one would go really nicely with that too. So that is a tree die that we've got in here. Then this one is a gorgeous sentiment. So you've actually got the outside circle, and then you've also got the interior detail that's got a fantastic sort of bold scripty Merry Christmas in a lovely like cursive sort of style. Then at the top it almost looks like music note staves almost, with a swirly design and then some stars. This one's like got an outline star, and then there's a couple of solid stars in there as well. And then along the bottom you've almost got like a rooftop scene with a little tree as well. If you got kit number 57, that had little houses in, you could maybe combine this sentiment die and have some of those houses in the foreground as well, and then you'd see these houses in the distance and have the gorgeous sentiment, which could like mimic kind of smoke coming out the chimneys of the houses or something more in the background. So you can definitely mix and match that with some of the other Christmas items from Tonic. Then next die, let's go with the snowflakes, show you the snowflakes. So you've got 2 beautiful snowflakes. They're really lovely and fine and delicate, and they're actually both different designs to the stamps as well. So you've got basically 4 different snowflakes that you can combine to make a background, stamping some of them, heat embossing them, stamping with glue and gilding flaking them, or just cutting them out of some of your gorgeous Craft Perfect card as well. I always think snowflakes are great for using any of the sort of cardstock that you've been saving and you don't want to use that much of, because, you know, just scattering 3 or 5 snowflakes around a card cut from a beautiful cardstock, you're not using much of your card, and it kind of elevates whatever kind of card design that you're doing. I love using the sugar crystal glitter card to cut out these snowflakes, and even just white card looks fantastic for the snowflakes as well, so you don't have to have any luxury card. Then the rest of the elements that are on here are all kind of to create a scene, so that you've got somewhere for like your sleigh to land or for Santa to be or something. So if I bring all of them out, they're very versatile, these ones, so they can actually become different things to create your different scene as well. And we've got a ton of different ones, and I'm sure you probably have more in your stash that you can combine with these to help create even more of a different scene as well. You can probably tell this one is one of my favourites. You know, I'm always saying I love that drippy kind of effect. I really like this drippy effect as well. The way it's not a repetitive kind of pattern, it's completely unique all the way along. I really love the look of that. And I mean, obviously it's designed because you can make a rooftop that Santa's sleigh can land on. It is basically like the snow that sort of started melting on the roof line of a house, and you can see the icicles coming down. Or you could use it in different ways. I've used it out of blues and silvers just to create a cool background for a card as well. You could maybe cut a couple of them and have them coming in from the edges and just have this wibbly sort of edge. If you love doing, I know I keep going back to those Stamp Club monsters, but this could be slime coming from a monster or an alien as well. So there's loads of different ways of using this kind of die. You could even use this in conjunction with some of the other elements as well. I was trying to put it on this piece, but then I was like, well, actually gravity's not, it's not working properly for that, so it didn't quite work how I wanted it to, but I'm sure you could get it to work for that kind of thing as well, and I will explain what that die is in a minute too. But this one here is the one that you can use to create your roof line, and they've made it a lovely long die, which is actually 5 3/4 inches long, or just over 14.5 centimetres, so that you can make it for a smaller card. You can do a landscape roof, or you can do a portrait roof as well. You could even do this as a portrait 5x7 card too, and it is actually a fairly easy design with a little bit of partial die cutting not running off the edge to you know, repeat cut this into a continuously long strip. But you could also just cut 2 of them and overlap one roof tile as well, if you wanted to do this on more of like an 8x8 card or a landscape 5x7 card or something, just to make it a little bit bigger. But this actually creates those kind of shingles on the roof or roof tiles, and you can the great thing about giving you it in this length is even if you're doing it on a landscape small card, you have enough space to shift it backwards and forwards so that they don't line up completely over the top of each other. You can do the sort of bricklaying sort of thing where, you know, one is over the top of the join of 2 of the previous one, if that makes sense. So you can really sort of build up your roof with this. Then you can add your drips along the top. Then you can also add your chimney as well. So they've even thought to give you the chimney where Santa can be coming out of, or the reindeers can be waiting on the roof. So you've also got your chimney here, which you've got a lovely little rectangle with an actual brickwork piece to go in it. And I did actually repeat cut this. It doesn't line up perfectly, but you can get away with recessing some of the bricks back into each other. It does repeat up this way much easier than it repeats sideways, but it is possible to repeat it sideways. There'll just be a tiny little join between some of the small bricks, and you can just snip that with your scissors, and you can't really tell that there was any kind of join in there. You also get the top piece for the chimney, which just gives you that nice edge along the top. And you also get the snow that has landed on the top of the chimney as well. So you've got all of that to create a roof scene, but then you also have the ability to create a dormer window in the roof as well. So you can actually have your roof kind of set up. We'll just go like that, but you can have your roof set up, and then this piece is designed to be the apex of like a dormer window. So you could put this, depending on what kind of house you're imagining in your mind, this could be further up and poking above the roof line depending on the perspective you're looking at the house and stuff, or it can be further down within the roof line as well. But that is like your dormer window. And then obviously you need a window, and you can actually take the outside of the chimney, so this rectangle of the chimney, and you've got this die in there too, and you can combine them both together to create your window frame. I'm not sure which way around this window frame is designed to be. I ended up using it this way, but the curtains seem to fit it better. You actually have the curtain dies as well, seem to fit it better this way, because if you put that curtain on, that is like, you know, a full length curtain. But the way I used it, I've kind of got like floating curtains, and there's no way anybody would buy a curtain that's too short for their window. So to disguise that on mine, I then brought the top of the chimney die in and did it as a windowsill. And then I brought the snow for the chimney in and put it on the windowsill, but raised it up enough to cover the end of the curtains so you can't tell that the curtains are too short. So there's ways of getting around it if you do want a portrait kind of window. But not only is that a chimney and a window, that rectangle die, taking both of those together, the rectangle and the bit that creates a window, and put it that way or that way, it's a present as well, because you also get the bow. So you can actually turn it into a present. You can have the bow in the middle, the bow at the top that way. You can flip it horizontally and have the bow that way. But you actually can make a present with it as well, which I thought is such a clever, ingenious kind of idea, that you've actually got that much versatility within this set to turn it into a chimney, a present and a window. And that you can build a window, a dormer window on your roof to make it look even more like a rooftop. You can add that heavy snowfall on your roof if you want that. You could use this all year round to create a roof. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of card you might want a roof on, unless you know somebody who is a roof tiler and you've never been able to make them a card that represents that their occupation. You could actually make them a roof tiling card. Maybe your, I don't know, next door neighbour or something noticed you had a broken tile on your roof and offered to fix it or something. You could make them a thank you card with a roof on it. You know, there's loads of different quirky ways that you might want a roof on a card. So it's really nice to actually have these kind of dies to be able to create that as well. And you could even, if you had some gingerbread people kind of dies as well, you could even turn this into some kind of a roof scene of a gingerbread house as well. It doesn't actually have to be like a real person's house, it could be a gingerbread house as well. So many different ways that you could play around with all of the dies in this set. And I've got 6 or 7 samples to show you, so I'll just put all of this away and then I'll come back and show you all of them. Hopefully I've got enough inspiration in there for you. I tried to use it in all of the different ways that I'd thought of, but as I'm going through the samples I might think of more ways to tell you how you might want to use it as well. So back in a second. Okay, so here is the first card, just really simple, using that gorgeous strippy snow icicle-y kind of border. I've cut it from silver pearlescent, silver mirror card, iridescent blue mirror card, I think this one is the Marina Mist, and then also blue glitter card as well, just to give it all like a little bit of difference of finish on there. And I've tried to repeat them in the same pattern, so you kind of get the, you know, the rainbow effect at equal sort of intervals down the card as well, and so on with all of the different colours. So that is really simple. And then for the sentiment on this one, that is the beautiful circle sentiment, and I cut it from white and then also the blue glitter card, and then I've just cut the outside circle from some vellum as well, and you can see how the vellum just helps mute down the background. I actually used the thinner Tonic vellum, but if you wanted to mute it out even more, if you use the thicker vellum, it's slightly more opaque, so you wouldn't be able to see the background quite so much. It would mute it out even more. So if you're ever having trouble with a sentiment standing out on your card, try different vellums to see how much they mute the background out. I'm pretty sure the gold and silver ones, specifically the gold one, would probably mute the background out even more, so depending on what project you're doing, you might want to mix up the colour of vellum that you might be using as well. So that is a really simple one. Then I have got the 3 different variations of using that rectangle die, so you can actually make it into a gorgeous little present. You can do it as a window, and you can also use it as the chimney. This one's also got the chimney on there as well. I kept this one really simple. I don't know if it's too simple. I tried not to go over the top and do a load of shading or anything with it, and I just had a reindeer left over, so I added the reindeer on the roof as well, because who doesn't love a cute little chubby reindeer? So this is kind of like the 3 different versions that you can do. So this one is literally just cutting the present and the bow out of the Inca gold cardstock. I matted the present onto a rectangle of the satin green colour cardstock. I think it's called Flourishing green. And then I used the Red Berries Nuvo drop on top of that to create spots on it to match the border that I drew. Although the spots have gone a little bit dark because they're on top of green rather than being on white. But I still like the look of it actually. I think that slight darkness ties the sentiment in a little bit more actually with the black stamping. And then I wanted it to have a little border around it, and I thought, well, I could go and look through my stash and find a rectangle die that I could create a border out of, so that's also an option as well. But then I thought it's kind of plain, so I want to bring some more colour into it. So I just freehand drew a rectangle and then drew another rectangle slightly further out, and then I just went round and split it all off into little rectangles. You can see it's not like 100% perfect, it doesn't sort of match all the way around. And then I just went round with the red and the green and added all the colouring in. I can't believe I actually managed to do it and get it to be perfect. So when I got to the top, the red and the green were next to each other and it wasn't like 2 reds or 2 greens. I'm still not sure how I managed to do that, but I didn't even think about that as I was drawing the lines on, so I'm very glad it worked out that way, because I started at the bottom and went to the top, and it would have been the most awkward place to try and hide it if it had been at the top. But if you do that and something happens like that, go round, start colouring from a place where you don't think it would matter if you added something. So for example, like here, or possibly up here, or maybe like down here, and you could even add 3 to balance it out of whatever you decide to add, whether it is like a gold snowflake or something, to hide the fact that you've got 2 colours next to each other, or maybe that you've had to draw in like a little extra line and then you've got a tiny little rectangle of 1 colour between the other 2 colours or something. You can just add those little die cuts or something to hide the little join, so if that does happen to you, it's not the end of the world, you can definitely hide it. It was just complete luck for me making that work all the way around. So that is using the present on the card. Then this one is really simple. I just cut a lot of that roof piece out of the misty grey cardstock. Then I was using, I think it's slate grey, I think it's called slate grey, for the apex of the roof and for under here and for on the top of the chimney to balance that across. I also put it behind the window to kind of make it look like the lights were off. I don't know if I would change that now, maybe. I mean, you could do yellow, but then I was thinking that there's no other yellow on the card, unless maybe I had taken a white piece and coloured it the same colour as the antlers or something to put behind. Or if you have any little stamps, like a person or, I don't know, an animal, they could be poking their head out of here as well. I mean, I could have stamped the robin on there, to be honest. It could have been sitting on the windowsill and it would kind of hide some of that space that you can see inside the window. So there's loads of different ways of putting something different behind the window. I was just trying to show you the actual sort of house all built up, but you can take this a lot further and really personalise it to the person. Like maybe they don't have white window frames, maybe they're the only house down the road that has an oaky kind of wood colour window frame or something, you know. You could make the card totally personal to them. And then I've done the chimney up here just with a brown colour of cardstock, and I did it the same colour as well, just to make it really simple, and I tried to pick a similar kind of colour to what I'd coloured the reindeer. And then for the dormer window, I took a piece of cardstock, I cut it to 2 inches wide, and then it was like the width, the short width of an A4 piece of card, so then I just cut it in half, so it was basically like 2 inches by just under or just over 4 inches, and then I just took the brick pattern and I cut it like once, twice, 3 times, and then I shifted it over and cut it once, twice, 3 times to get that big rectangle of brickwork. Then I took the apex, stuck it on top, trimmed off the excess, and then stuck the window on as well. So I think it kind of gives you that kind of idea that there is a window coming out of the roof, like a loft conversion. So hopefully it sort of looks like that. And then I wanted to kind of balance the snow that I'd used, so I'd done the snow on the roof line and the gorgeous little cluster of snow that you can put on the chimney, but then I thought, well, I want to use this piece of the chimney, the grey bit, as a windowsill, so the clump of snow is going to fit perfectly. So I put the clump of snow on the windowsill, and you can see there it kind of disguises the fact that those curtains are really short for that window. I thought that would work quite nicely. Although actually thinking about it, I suppose if you do pull your curtains back like that and it's on a shorter window and you bulk them out to look like this, maybe they would look shorter, so maybe it doesn't particularly matter. But anyway, it's just another way of using the window in a portrait mode but not noticing that the curtains are a little bit too short. So I thought that was quite a good way of kind of disguising that. And I did red curtains because of Rudolph's red nose, and then I put red behind the sentiment to match it all together. I had a few snowflakes left from the bunch that I was cutting for the next 3 cards, so I just added a few of them in the background. You could have also done an ink blended background to make it look like a wintry kind of sky, maybe using stormy sky or weathered wood or some kind of distress ink, or maybe even a light blue coloured glacier paste or Nuvo mousse as well. That might look nice to give a metallic or shiny and shimmery sort of sky as well. But yeah, you can definitely build on this design. I hadn't done one with the dormer window. I had it all planned, and I was like, why is this not looking right? And I think it was because I hadn't planned to put a chimney on there. But when I put the chimney on, I was like, okay, this is looking a lot better now. So I decided to finish the card, so I had it to show you. So hopefully this just gives you like the skeleton of this kind of a card that you can make, and then you can sort of build off of that. And obviously if you like making larger cards, this could be, you know, extended, and maybe you want to do a 5x7 landscape card, or you want to do a 6x6 square card and just extend it out a little bit. Maybe you want to do a house that has 2 of these windows in it and then the chimneys in between to make it balance. Maybe you want to, I don't know, you might have another die in your set. I don't think you probably would, but you might have something that looks like it. Put like a TV aerial on the roof, or even like a satellite dish or something, again to sort of personalise it to whoever you're sending it to. Or you could really extend this design and have the sleigh on the roof as well, which I have shown on this card. So you know, this could be like the same roof perhaps, but from the other side, so you can't see the window, and the sleigh has landed on the roof. So I wanted to show you that idea as well. So again, we've got the roof line there with some of the tiles on the roof. This time I did actually use both dies together, so you've got that actual sort of like edge detail to the tiles, rather than this one I just used the scalloped pieces. So I thought that was a different kind of look that you could do. I've got the snow on there again. I've got the chimney, which I actually cut out of white for this one because I had so many coloured elements on here. I wanted to try and match the colours using my alcohol pens. So I decided to just cut it from white and then sort of match the colours like that. And I've done the Santa stop here sign. You've got the little robin landing on the chimney, and then you've got the 2 bags of presents inside Santa's sleigh as well. And you've also got the coloured design on the sleigh too, which is inside the shaker. And then the star confetti that I used is, I think I've put it away now, I think it's called Desert Sunset star confetti. I think it came out in the Arabian Nights colour trend, which was a very long time ago now, but I think that was the colour trend it came out in. But I just wanted to go with something gold because I knew I wanted to use the Inca gold mirror, iridescent mirror card for the outline of the sleigh. So that's why I decided to go for the gold confetti inside. And I was explaining earlier how I kind of put this shaker card together. I did actually trim off the bottoms of the presents by hand. So basically what you do is you lay all your elements out on your card. You take this aperture die and place it where you want the sleigh to be. You tape that down and just cut it out of the white piece, so just your background piece, or it could be ink blended with a colour on it, but just your background piece you cut that into. Then you can bring this front frame back in and lay it over the top, decide how you want your presents sitting in the sleigh, then remove the frame again, stick the presents down, and then the overlap that will be coming into the aperture, you can just flip it over or cut from the front and snip it out. because this will hide any messy cutting, but you don't want the presents to be sticking into the aperture because you'd be able to see them inside the bubble. And the whole point is this is the sleigh that's shaking, and this is like the solid outside of the sleigh, and the presents are inside the sleigh. So hopefully that makes sense if you want to recreate something like this. That's how I got around having the present sacks there. I actually just did it like that and cut the bottoms of them off so that they weren't showing inside the shaker. And then I finished this one with some snowflakes cut out from the sugar crystal glitter card, and also some white card as well, just to add a different kind of effect on there too. Then the final two cards ended up looking quite similar to each other. I wasn't going to have the presents floating around on this one, but they looked too plain and it needed more colour, so I did decide to add the presents in as well. But this was the first one that I did, and I wanted it to be just like a jumble. It's not actually like a proper scene like a lot of the other cards are. It's just sort of a jumble of all sorts of the different elements. So I went with the Santa, or the sort of front view of Santa, 3 little presents, and then one of the cute little chubby reindeers as well. And then I've done the happy ho ho holidays in the background of this one. So basically what I did, I stamped and cut out all of my images and laid them onto the background. I placed in as many of the snowflakes as I wanted to use, and you also get a fall away piece in the snowflake that you can use as well. Then I took a photo of it, then I moved everything off, and I came back in with that star kind of stamp, and I used pumice stone distress oxide and stamped it in the background. So it's a similar colour to the antlers, which kind of ties it in, but it's a soft, subtle kind of colour that just sort of goes into the background nicely. You could have stamped that and heat embossed it as well, maybe with the shimmering pearl embossing powder, because it would have sort of retracted into the background, being a sort of shimmery clear with a sparkle. So I added that all over, and then I referred back to my photo and stuck everything on there as well, and then placed the sentiment in too. And you can see this is the central portion that falls out of the larger snowflake. You can actually use that as an extra kind of snowfall accent as well, which is really nice. And I love doing half snowflakes because I don't know if I think I used it down here. You can then use the rest of the snowflake somewhere else on the card. So those two are the same snowflake, but you've just got away with not cutting one extra snowflake, and you can just add the extra elements on there as well. And then the final card is using that tree, but you can see what I mean. I wasn't sure which way round to cut it, whether the detail one is supposed to be green or white and vice versa, because this kind of blends in. It's got so much snow on it, it almost disappears. So I'm not sure whether maybe it's supposed to be the other way around, and it's supposed to be more of like a green tree with a tiny bit of snow on it rather than a completely covered tree. I suppose the shape of these bits would kind of make more sense, but I was sort of thinking it's the branches poking out from the snow, where some of the snow sort of melted and dropped off, but I don't know. You could do it whichever way you like. Maybe try both ways and see which one you think looks better, actually. And then for this one, I've also just freehand cut a slope to be the ground for the sort of snow where everybody's standing. I've got Santa, and he could be waving, but in this instance he's caught a robin, or the robin's just landed on his hand whilst he was waving or something. And then there's also a ton of presents all round the place as well. Maybe Santa was throwing the presents in the air or something. It's kind of random, but I just wanted to add that extra bit of kind of colour to it. I could have maybe done a different sort of layout to it. Or maybe if I'd done the tree the opposite way round, the green would have balanced it out more, and maybe if I'd then put the sentiment at the top, the green would have balanced the colours out, and then the sentiment would have filled the gap in the top. But it's just another idea of how you might want to lay a card out, build a scene with Santa and the tree and everything. So yeah, hopefully out of all of these cards there is something in here that's inspired you of how you might want to use this set. And hopefully you've been enjoying all of the birthday week celebrations so far. I don't know if this one's going up near the beginning of the week or near the end of the week, so hopefully you've been enjoying whatever has already been or whatever's going to come as well. And I will link all of these products below the video as well, plus all of the other birthday week products as well. I'll do a separate link to list with all of the birthday week products in as well, and I really do appreciate you clicking on my links and making a purchase with them. They are affiliate links, so if you click through one of my links, it basically just tells Tonic that you have found my video, watched it, liked it, and then decided to buy it after watching my video. And then I will get a small commission at no extra cost to you as well. So it will be just a small percentage of however much you spent on the website, but it won't cost you anything. It's just the time and effort that you put in to go and find my link and click on it as well. And I really do appreciate it. So thank you to everybody who has used them throughout the whole of history, or who does use them during birthday week or continuing into the future as well. I really do appreciate it. So I hope you enjoyed this up close video looking at the Sleigh set, because I'm not sure what the actual name of it is, but yeah, I hope there was some kind of inspiration in here for you, and I hope you enjoyed seeing an actual card of like the different ways that you can use that little rectangle piece as well to create the chimney, the window, or the present too. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!